Is the material visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were proceeding with our discussion on joint distribution. And we also introduced the concept of joint moments. And subsequently, we considered the correlation and the covariance of two random variable x and y. So that was probably where we ended. I defined the correlation coefficient for x and y in this manner, that rho xy is the ratio of the covariance of x and y divided by the product of the variances of the two random variables. So it is a dimensionless quantity. Rho xy it's greater than equal to -1, less than equal to 1. All right. Now, if those random variables x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated. If they are statistically uncorrelated, what will happen? Expectation of xy, that will be equal to expectation of x into expectation of y. That means mu x into mu y. So then the numerator will be 0. That means when the random variables x and y are statistically uncorrelated, rho xy will be 0. So what have we observed? The condition for two I mean, for two random variables x and y to be statistically uncorrelated, what is the condition that is to be satisfied? The correlation of x and y, that should be equal to the product of the expectations of x and y. What will be the covariance when x and y are statistically independent? Sorry, x and y are uncorrelated. The covariance will be 0. The covariance will be 0. All right. And hence the correlation coefficient also, that will be 0. So that was where we ended last day. So remember these conditions. It's not that when x and y are statistically uncorrelated, the correlation will be 0. That is not the case. That can come as a special case, but that is not the general observation, general condition. The covariance will be 0 and the correlation coefficient will be 0. These are the conditions. Now, I have also pointed out that if two random variables x and y, they are statistically independent, then they will definitely be statistically uncorrelated. But the converse is not true. You can come across several examples where you would find that the random variables are statistically uncorrelated, but they are not statistically independent. I will cite a couple of examples. Before that, let's have a look at correlation of linearly related random variables. Suppose we have a random variable x and y is equal to ax plus b, where a and b are constants. Then the expectation of y, which we will represent by mu y, you can easily understand expectation of y is a into expectation of x plus b, that means a mu x plus b. The correlation of the random variables rx, y, that will be, this is the basic expression. So if you substitute y with ax plus b, you get expectation of ax square plus bx. So it's a into mean square value of x plus b into mu x. So that's what I have written here. Consider the covariance. It's the correlation minus the product of the expectations. Therefore, what will be the expression for cxy? Expectation of a into expectation of x square plus b into mu x minus a mu x plus b into mu x. All right. You understand why? Rxy, I have substituted Rxy with this expression. And then mu x and product of mu x and mu y, in that expression, I have substituted the expression for mu y here. All right. So Cxy comes out as a into mean square value of x minus a into the square of the mean value of x. So that means if you consider a as common, what remains will give you sigma x squared. So Cxy is a into sigma x squared. Now, sigma y squared, this is a square into sigma x squared that we have already observed when we are discussing about variance. There also we considered a linear relation between two random variables, y and x, and we had shown that this sigma y square in that case will be a squared times sigma x squared. B will have no effect on sigma y squared. Therefore, the standard deviation of y is plus minus a into sigma x. The correlation coefficient involving x and y, that is the basic expression. Instead of cxy, you write a into sigma x squared, and this will become plus minus a into sigma x squared. All right. Why have I written that sigma y will be equal to plus minus a into sigma x? Why have I written that? Remember that standard deviation is defined as the positive square root of the variance. But here, why have I written that? Plus minus a into sigma x. It is because this constant a, it can take on positive as well as negative values. So for the sake of generality, I have expressed it in this way. Sigma y, it should be positive quantity. So here rho xy becomes plus minus 1 in that case. When a is equal to 1, rho xy is 1. When a is equal to minus 1, rho xy, that will be equal to minus 1. That's because sigma y, that has to be positive. All right. Write down this part. Oh, হ্যাঁ বলো। আজকে আমি একটু পরে করি, তোমাকে আমি ক্লাস নিচ্ছি। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। সরি।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, হয়ে গেছে।
Therefore, if two random variables x and y, they are linearly related. Say y is equal to ax plus b. When the coefficient of a is positive, then the correlation coefficient will be plus 1. When the coefficient of x is negative, then the correlation coefficient will be minus 1. And when this x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated, rho xy will be 0. So value of rho xy equal to plus 1 or minus 1 indicates that y and x, they are related through an equation of the form y equal to ax plus b. So whatever I said, I have written down here. If two random variables x and y, they are statistically independent, they are also statistically uncorrelated, but the converse is not true. They are not necessarily statistically independent. Just an example in just to illustrate a case where the random variables are statistically uncorrelated, but they are not statistically independent. So suppose we have a random variable x that can take on any one of two values. I am labeling those values at 0 and 1. And both of them, the probability of the random variable taking one of these values is equal to half. So probability of x equal to 0 is half, and probability of y equal to 0 is also, sorry, probability of x equal to 1 is also half. Consider a random variable z that is statistically independent of x, and that takes the value minus 1 with probability of minus 1 equal to half, and takes the value of 1 with probability of 1 equal to half. All right. Suppose you have constructed another random variable u such that u is a product of x and z. So the claim is that u and x, they have zero covariance and are thus uncorrelated but are not independent. In order to find out that, first note that expectation of z, this is z, probably it can take on two values, minus 1 and plus 1, and both probabilities are half. So expectation of Z will be half minus half. Do you understand my point? Half minus half. So minus 1 into half plus 1 into half. That becomes 0. So expectation of, sorry, oh, expectation of Z is 0, yes. And expectation of X, that you can already see from here, it's 0 into half plus 1 into half. That means it's half. So expectation of U is equal to expectation of X into expectation of Z, that is 0. Hmm? That is 0. Now covariance of U and X, that is the basic expression. So I write it as expectation of U into U equal to, expectation of U into X minus half, because this mu X is half and mu U is 0. Replacing U with X into Z, I get this expression. So it's expectation of X square Z minus XZ by 2. Then simply rearranging the terms, I get this expression. Expectation of X square minus X by 2 into Z. Because X and Z, they are statistically, they are uncorrelated. Sorry, they are uncorrelated. Therefore, X square minus X by 2 and Z, they also will be uncorrelated. So this product will be equal to the product of the expectations. That's what we have written here. Hmm? So that is 0. The covariance is 0 because expectation of U, expectation of Z is half, and what is this one? This is 0. Now, independence of U and X means that for all A and B, probability of U equal to A given X is equal to B, that should be equal to probability of U equal to A. Statistical independence of U and X, what does it mean? Whatever value X will take on, the probability of U equal to A will not be governed by that value. So that's why this condition has to be satisfied. This is not true in particular for A equal to 1 and B equal to 0, because probability of U equal to 1 given X equal to 0 is this one, that is equal to 0. And probability of U equal to 1 equal to probability of XZ equal to 1, that is 1/4. So for A equal to 1 and B equal to 0, that is not true. Thus, probability of U equal to 1 given X equal to 0 is not equal to probability of U equal to 1. So U and X, they are not statistically independent. They are uncorrelated, but they are not statistically independent. That's what was my assertion. This example is related to discrete random variables. Let us see whether I can cite any other example involving continuous random variables.
স্যার এর ওপরের পেজটায় যাবেন একটু।
হুম, এটা
না স্যার, এর ওপরের পেজটার সেকেন্ড পয়েন্টটা।
এইটা
ইয়েস স্যার। হ্যাঁ স্যার। ইয়েস স্যার, ডান।
expectation of u is equal to expectation of xz, and because x and z are statistically independent, they are also statistically uncorrelated. So expectation of x into z will be the product of expectation of x and expectation of z. But expectation of x, although it's half, expectation of z is 0. So this expectation of u, that is 0. So the correlation of x and z is 0. CUX means the covariance of u and x. Just see here, you have this expectation of x square minus x by 2 into z. Z and x, they are statistically uncorrelated. So x square minus x by 2 and z, they also should be statistically uncorrelated. Therefore, this is equal to the product of the expectation of x square minus x by 2 into expectation of z. But expectation of z is 0. The problem has been framed in such a manner that the expectation of z is 0. So this product will also be 0. Covariance of u and x, that is 0, means that u and x, they are statistically uncorrelated. Covariance of u and x, that is 0, implies that u and x, they are statistically uncorrelated. So what were you asked to find out? U and x have 0 covariance and are thus uncorrelated. So that's what have been shown here.
স্যার এই পার্টটা হয়ে গেছিল।
Hmm. we are trying to examine whether u and x are also statistically independent. Statistical independence implies that the probability of u taking on a certain value should be independent of whatever value x takes on. That means this conditional probability of capital U taking on any value, say small a, that should be independent of x taking on any value xb. So this conditional probability, it shouldn't, I mean, x equal to b shouldn't govern this probability. So this is probability of u equal to a. So that is not true in particular for a equal to 1 and b equal to 0. The probability of u equal to 1, x equal to 0 means probability of xz equal to 1 given x is equal to 0. That means this probability is 0. Probability of u equal to 1 comes out as 1/4. So that condition is not satisfied for a equal to 1 and b equal to 0. For statistical independence, this condition has to be satisfied for all combinations of b and a. But we are considering here a particular combination of a and b for which that condition is not satisfied. Therefore, u and x, although they are statistically uncorrelated, they are not statistically independent. Now consider an example which states that the joint probability density function of the continuous random variables x and y, it is constant over the region x square plus y square less than equal to 4. And you have to determine the probability that capital X square plus y square is less than equal to 1. So we have 3-coordinate system. 2 coordinates are x and y, and the third one is fxy, small fxy, small fxy. What does it mean? The joint probability density function of the continuous random variables x and y is constant over the region x square plus y square less than equal to 4. That means in the xy plane, if you consider a circle centered at origin with a radius equal to 2 units, then this circle will be the projection of this 3D plot of fxy against x and y. Given that situation, you are asked to determine the probability that capital X square plus y square is less than equal to 1. The region that receives positive probability is a circle of radius 2, as we have pointed out. Therefore, the area of this region, what is the area? Pi d square, pi r square. All right, pi r square, sorry, pi r square. So that will be 4 pi, because the radius is 2 units. What is the area of that region x square plus y square less than equal to 1? That is pi units. Consequently, the requested probability is pi divided by 4 pi equal to 1/4. Why is it so? Is there anything special which prompted us to use this unitary method to find out the desired probability?
Because it's constant.
Exactly. Because over that, I mean, in the interior of that circle, x square plus y square equal to 4, in the interior of this circle, the joint probability density function, it's constant. That means the joint probability density function, it is in the form of a cylinder. And the cross section of that cylinder, obviously, it will be a circle. And that circle is x square plus y square less than equal to 4. Therefore, that x square plus capital X square plus y square less than equal to 1, that represents a smaller circle whose area is pi units. Therefore, this requested probability will come out as 1/4. Although this was the given problem, I will extend it further to show some more things. Uh, could you write up to that?
Yes, sir.
So this is fxy, 1 by 4 pi. Just observe here, this is fxy. So draw this first. The 3D figure. Why should this height be 1 by 4 pi? Because the area of
Volume
this
should be
circle, yes, area of this circle is 4 pi units, and you know that the volume of this joint density function, it should be 1. Therefore, the height is 1 by 4 pi. So that is how we have obtained fxy. Fxy is 1 by 4 pi over that range, x and y lying in this range -2 to +2. So this is the cross section of that cylinder. Try to find out the marginal probability density function of x. it will be fxy integrated over minus infinity to plus infinity with y as the variable of integration. Now, what are these limits over which y will extend? X square plus y square equal to 4 means y equal to plus minus root over 4 minus x squared. So here this integration should therefore extend from minus root over 4 minus x squared to root over 4 minus x square. And in this range, the density function, obviously, it should be equal to 1 by 4 pi. So it comes out of this form, and ultimately this is equal to root over 4 minus x square by 2 pi, x lying in that range. The marginal density function fx, you can see easily that this is an even function of x. So the expectation of x is 0, mu x is 0. In a similar manner, in an identical manner, from small f xy, you could have already also obtained the expression for the marginal density function of small fy. What will be the density function of y? It will be root over 4 minus y square by 2 pi, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now you know small x, you know small fy, you know small f xy. You can easily check whether they are statistically independent or not. Expectation of y is also 0. You can well understand, because this is an even function of y. Therefore, the product of the marginal probability density functions is as indicated there. So that is not equal to small f xy. What about the statistical correlation between x and y? Expectation of xy is 0. So it's equal to expectation of x into expectation of y. And x and y are statistically uncorrelated. But they are not statistically independent. Just 1 minute. Why should the expectation of xy be 0? Why should the expectation of xy be 0? Because this is a symmetrical function. The cross section is a symmetrical function. All right. Or you can straightway obtain the expectation of xy here from this joint density function. Find out the expectation of xy into 1 by 4 pi, then integrate it twice. You will obtain it as 0. But because expectation of x is 0, expectation of y is 0, therefore expectation of xy, that will be product of expectation of x and expectation of y. Thus, x and y are statistically uncorrelated. But fx into fy, this is not equal to fxy. So they are not statistically independent. Is it done?
Yes, sir.
This is an extremely important joint distribution function, jointly Gaussian distribution, or jo discussion on jointly Gaussian random variables. So that is one of the very important two-dimensional probability distribution, the joint Gaussian distribution. Now, a pair of random variables x and y, they are called jointly Gaussian if their joint PDF is of this type. This is the expression. Fxy is 1 by twice pi sigma x sigma y root over 1 minus rho xy squared sorry into e to the power minus of this entire thing. You can well understand what the symbols mean. Sigma x and sigma y, they are the variances of x and y. Mu x and mu y, they are the expectations of x and y. And rho xy is the correlation coefficient. All right. Write down this part, then I'll proceed. This is the expression of the joint density function. What will be the shape of this density function? Obviously, a bell-shaped 3D structure, isn't it? That is a typical nature of the density function. You need not write r equal to 0.7. You need not write these values also. Just the shape. Just note the shape. Drawn it, I think. So sigma x and sigma y, they are the standard deviation. Their squares are the variances. And rho xy is the correlation coefficient of x and y. So what will be the cross section of this jointly Gaussian density function? If you take a cross section, what will be the nature? In general, it will be
Gaussian distribution. Oh.
cross section. This bell-shaped structure, think about a bell. And if you take the cross section, just chop off the top
It's a
and
circular.
look from the up downwards.
Elliptical kind of thing.
elliptical. As a special case, it may also be circular. In what manner will the major axis of the ellipse be oriented? We will see what are the factors. See, if you take several cross sections at different heights of this density function, what you will get will be ellipses. Ellipses of different, what should I say, different lengths of the major axis and minor axis also. হয়েছে লেখা?
এটা তো
fxy we started from this expression. You need not write it once more. If you want to write, you can write it for continuity. Here, just see that I have written it as fxy. This part is all right. E to the power minus qxy divided by 2. So what is that qxy? Qxy is this entire numerator, all right, divided by 1 minus rho x square. That is qx square, qxy. Now what I have done, I have separated out the portion involving x and the remaining portion. So that's what I have done. What's the next step? Keeping that intact, here I have made some maneuvering. I have taken out 1 by sigma y squared. 1 by sigma y squared have been taken out. So what remains here will be y minus mu y. All right. Minus rho xy sigma y by sigma x, x minus mu x. That raised to the power 2. Is it all right? I have used the symbol q to represent this part, xy. Again, I introduce another symbol just for the sake of simplicity. q1 xy, what I am representing by that? Only this portion. Only this portion. So that is q1 xy. So a part of qxy is q1 xy. Then fx. How will you obtain fx from fxy? Simply you have to integrate fxy with y as the variable of integration and y extending from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what will be the result? This e to the power, that term is here. What, which term does it represent? You understand, I think. This one. This one, together with the fact that you have here this root over 2 pi into sigma x. So that is separated out. Integration has to be done. Because y is the variable of integration, we could separate out that part involving x only. So this is integrated over minus infinity to plus infinity, root over 2 pi, sigma y root over 1 minus rho xy squared, e to the power minus half q1 xy. Now this one, this entire thing, if you remember the expression for q1 xy, this is the expression. Then what can you say? The integrand is a normal probability density function with mean equal to sigma mu y plus rho xy sigma y by sigma x, x minus mu x. and variance equal to sigma y squared into 1 minus rho xy squared. So this is a Gaussian distribution with that mean and this variance. Therefore, the integration result of this integration will be 1. So that integral will be 1. So what is fx then? Fx is simply this one. That means fx is a Gaussian distribution. In an identical manner, small fy, its expression will also come out in this way. So both x and y, they are 1D Gaussian random variables. Is that all right? What
Yes.
else can be said? Again, just recall this one. If you introduce rho xy equal to 0, if you introduce rho xy equal to 0 means that the two random variables x and y, they are statistically uncorrelated. Then fxy, its expression will get simplified to what I am writing here. All right. So this is an expression which is equal to fx into fy. If you consider these expressions for fx and fy, the product of fx and fy will be that one, fxy, when rho xy is 0. So fxy under that condition is fx into fy. Therefore, statistically uncorrelated Gaussian random variables are also statistically independent. I am pointing out from the reverse direction. I started from the premise that the Gaussian random variables are statistically uncorrelated. And based on that premise, I have shown that they are also statistically independent. So that is an important property of Gaussian distribution or Gaussian random variables. Write down that part. চা কি আছে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার এই পার্টটা হয়েছে।
সবাই হয়েছে?
ইয়েস স্যার।
এই এক্সপ্রেশনটাকে নতুন করে লিখবে?
না স্যার ওটা এফ এক্স ওয়াই হিসাবে লিখে নিচ্ছি।
ঠিক আছে। So in this expression, if you insert rho xy as 0, okay, let's stop here today. Haven't I sent you that last class's video? You have not received it? Okay, I'll send it. হয়েছে লেখা?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Done.
Hmm. So I'm logging out.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.